tonight. Lagos State government to probe Banana Island's 7-story building collapse, holds all ongoing building development projects in the area, and vows to clamp down on structurally deficient structures there. Another gruesome attack on Zangun Kataf community in southern Kaduna as bandits kill 8 residents, leaving the community in disarray. Trouble looms as the Speaker, House of Representatives, expresses dissatisfaction with level of work done on the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies project in Abuja. And U.S. government arrests suspect in the leaking of highly sensitive Pentagon-classified documents.
On business news tonight, Nigerian Export Promotion Council says cashew nut exports hit $252 million in the year 2022.
And from the capital of the nation, boost for the education sector as 18 public tertiary institutions in the country are to benefit from over 300 billion naira intervention fund by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund.
Effective today, the Lagos State government is commencing investigation into the cause of yesterday's building collapse in the Banana Island area of the state. The state government is also to conduct integrity tests on buildings around the collapse site and has halted all ongoing building development projects there, subject to a comprehensive audit of ongoing projects by the government. The audit is to examine how many buildings are being constructed without approval from the Lagos State government, if all approved buildings are being built in line with the approval limits provided. And the exercise will be extended to other estates and gated communities. Our correspondent, Darido, reports.
This is the moment a 7-story building caved in, and before now, every visual, every account about the incident were from eyewitnesses.
Oh my God.
Journalists had, however, made attempts to go into the estate for coverage, but met with a brick wall.
We don't say anything. You can't talk there. You can't keep us outside for hours. Where is the CSO? Please.
The estate management says it is following laid-down security protocols. After waiting for hours at the gate, this dramatic turn of events played out.
I'm not for sure. I'm telling you. Listen to what the authority of the estate said. The man that has just spoken.
We have right to an information, and we want to know what.
After the pushing and shoving, men and women of the press were allowed into the building collapse scene to film. More facts are emerging. In this particular case, no fatalities recorded, yet the contractors have been identified, and the state government says it is investigating what could have led to this incident.
Yes, it's a site of 4 units, 4 complexes, as you can see. It's all interlinked. One has been affected, all right? The other 3 are still standing. The Lagos State government, what we're looking to do is to do an integrity test on it. So far, our investigation is ongoing. And at the end of our investigation, the next steps will be decided.
Names, contractors, developers?
Well, the name of the contractor, I believe, is Joe Faraday. That's the name of the contractor of the development.
We are using a hammer and excavator with cranes together. We started moving from one layer to another. And during this emergency response, we are able to rescue 7 people alive. Those people that were rescued were treated on the spot and discharged. It is only one that was taken to a private hospital where he's receiving adequate treatment.
Agencies of government and other stakeholders are here to assess the situation.
There are various government agencies, and I know they've done a lot of, preliminary checks on drawings and, bedding schedule and all that. But maybe some way, somehow, there's been sharp practices or deviation from the specifications. That is what I want to advise that we should, desist from. This collapse building definitely have got a lot of money, and the collapse is not again to the owner.
As emergency management officials continue to comb the rubble to ascertain that no one is left under the debris, the Lagos State government is still confronted with finding a lasting solution to building collapse cases in the state. In 2021, a 21-story building under construction caved in the same upscale neighborhood, killing more than 50 people. Dare Ido, Channels Television News.
Staying with the building collapse in Banana Island, earlier we spoke with a structural engineer, Mr. Ajibola Tijani, on the issue. I began by asking him to give his initial assessment on the incident.
There are several things that could have gone wrong, and in the course of the investigation, I think this is going to be revealed. It could be poor structural design of the building. It could be a poor construction methodology. It could be poor quality control. And it could be maybe due to some corrupt practices. And it could also be due to lack of compliance with the specification from the engineers. So in the course of the investigation, I think this is going to be unraveled. So at the moment, one might not be able to suspect the actual cause of the failure. But looking at what the LASEMA PAMSEC said, that there was an impact from a truck mixer. If eventually that is confirmed, we would like to find out at what speed did the truck mixer actually hit the vertical member of the structure to warrant the entire collapse, which I call a disproportionate collapse to the impact on the structure.
All right, engineer, do you think developers and realtors need another layer of, should I say, auditing and regulation in terms of capacity and compliance to stop this menace of building collapses?
I believe there should be more engagement between private sector, I mean, the engineers, consultants, and the government agencies. If you look at the government agencies, they do not have enough hands to go around thousands of construction sites in Lagos that is ongoing simultaneously. So I would suggest that government needs to engage the consultants in the real estate industry, in the construction and the built environment, so that we can together join us together to tame this menace. It's becoming too much, and something that as an engineer, I'm really not proud of to even hear anymore after this. You know, we had one close to a year and a half, the Koi building collapse, and I believe the lesson learned from that should have been carried on. The government really needs to step up the game. They need more hands. They need consultants to come into this business. We can't afford to be losing life. We thank God that, according to what we read, that no life was lost. But the cost of this incident is something that is avoidable. So I believe going forward that we should be able to have the kind of collaboration to tame this menace.
All right. Of course, like you rightly said, this issue of building collapse is one too many in Lagos State. But of course, the authorities, the state government has already promised to carry out an integrity test on the adjoining buildings. What do you think that procedure is going to be like, and how long is it going to take?
You know, the essence of having an integrity test is to ensure that the adjoining properties during the design life does not suffer any damage as a result of this collapse. And the reason is to ensure that people, the inhabitants, are safe and we do not experience any fatalities. So what is going to be done is what we call a non-destructive testing. So it doesn't have to be evacuating or asking the inhabitants to leave. So it's a non-destructive testing, and it could involve the use of a strain gauge. There's a device that we call Pondit or Smith armor that can be used. Some ultrasound equipment can also be used as well. to detect what has happened and to make sure that the structure, any deflection or anything that could make the inhabitant uncomfortable. So if there is any concern from the specialists, they're going to write a report and submit to the government and advise whether there are areas that needs to be addressed, whether there's any remedial activities that needs to be done in order to make the property fit for purpose, or if it's going to be an outright demolition so that we can avert any further disaster.
All right, and finally, after this integrity test, what next? What should we expect, particularly the occupants of those adjoining buildings?
I think what they need is reassurance from the government agencies, from the professional bodies, the engineering profession, after the test has been carried on. And I think the report should be in the public domain. Over the years, we've been trying not to make all these things to be visible. And I don't think that is right. We need our students in higher institution of learning to know what went wrong so that the lesson learned can be something that can help them while in the course of the practice. So the inhabitant needs to be assured after the integrity test has been conducted so that there will be no panic and there is going to be great assurance from the government that everything is okay, because the impact of the collapse has to be measured, whether it does have anything to do with the adjoining properties or not.
Moving on to security in Kaduna State, where at least 8 people have been reportedly killed in a fresh attack by bandits on Atakinje community in Zangon Kataf local government area of the state. The latest attack is coming some weeks after a similar incident on Langson community in the same local government area that claimed 10 lives. The palace of the paramount ruler of Agwatiap chiefdom is located in the same Atakinje community. The police authorities are yet to comment on the incident, but the president of Atiap Community Development Association, Mr. Sam Timbuak, told Channels Television that the gunmen invaded the community from a nearby bush at about 9 p.m. on Wednesday. He said that the bandits attacked 5 houses, during which they shot and killed 8 people, while 4 others sustained varying degrees of injuries. He said the scene of the attack is located very close to a military checkpoint, but added that the soldiers arrived at the community after the attackers had committed the crimes and left. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State government says troops of Operation Forest Sanity have arrested a suspect who specializes in the supply of arms and ammunition to bandits in Kaduna State. The suspect, Aminu Abdullahi, was arrested while he was conveying a large quantity of ammunition to bandits around the Polwa area in Beningwari local government area of the state. According to a statement by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, following credible intelligence on gun-running activities in the area and in the course of diligent checks, the troops stopped a suspicious-looking vehicle within the location of interest. While searching the intercepted black Toyota Corolla car, the security operatives recovered more than 2,000 rounds of various grades of ammunition and 5 empty AK-47 magazines concealed in different parts of the car, which were also recovered. Now, according to the commissioner, the suspect is in custody for further investigation. In part 2, after the break, lawyers to the President-elect Bola Tinubu approach the court, say the presidential candidates of the Labour Party and People's Democratic Party lack the right to challenge the victory of Senator Bola Tinubu. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. The Lagos State government to probe Banana Island's 7-story building collapse, holds all ongoing building development projects and vows to clamp down on structurally deficient structures in the area. Another gruesome attack on Zangon Kataf community in southern Kaduna as bandits kill 8 residents, leaving the community in disarray. Trouble looms as the Speaker, House of Representatives, hands down a 30-day ultimatum to Julius Berger to complete the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies project in Abuja. And U.S. government arrests suspect in the leaking of highly sensitive Pentagon classified documents. staying with the fight against terror, no fewer than 15 insurgents, loyalists of bandit kingpin Dankarami, including his top commander Jafar, have been reported killed by the troops of Operation Hadarin Daji in Zamfara state. The terrorists who attempted to attack Gidan Danjima and Kirifada communities on the Benin Magaji local government area of the state yesterday were repelled by the troops in conjunction with local vigilantes. The channel's television gathered that the bandits, in their large numbers, who are loyalists to Dankarami, are currently conducting the burial of their dead members at a graveyard in Maitsaba village under Zurmi local government area of the state. Other residents of Kirifada community who pleaded anonymity told Channels Television that the bandits attacked the community, but the troops were quickly mobilized to the area where they neutralized 15 of them, including their top commander, Jafar. However, 2 soldiers and 4 local vigilante members were said to have sustained varying degrees of gunshot injuries during the shootout. In a related development, troops of Operation Hadarin Daji rescued some commuters who were abandoned by bandits after a firefight with the troops. The bandits had blocked the Danbasa-Bini road in a bid to kidnap commuters, but troops swiftly moved to the area and engaged the bandits in a firefight which led to the death of 2 bandits while others fled. To the legal battle on the outcome of the presidential election, the president-elect, Bola Tinubu, challenging the right of the Labour Party's candidate, Peter Obi, to challenge his victory in the poll. In his response to the petition by Obi and the Labour Party, Senator Tinubu's legal team argues that Mr. Peter Obi was not a lawful member of the party, as at the time he contested on the party's platform, and lacks the locus standi to challenge the outcome of the poll. Now, the lawyers also argued that the grounds on which the petition is predicated are incompetent, thereby denying the court the needed jurisdiction. They contend that the reliefs being sought by the petitioners are not only incompetent, but also ungrantable, and prayed the court to dismiss it. Well, the president-elect has also filed his reply to the presidential candidate of the PDP, and of course, that's Atiku Abubakar, and his party, stating that Mr. Abubakar has always lost in his bid to lead the country since the year 1993. And he faults Mr. Atiku Abubakar's petition on the grounds that it is an abuse of court process, having earlier filed the same suit in the Supreme Court through some PDP governors. He also faults the petition for not making the Labour Party and the NNPP correspondence, even though Mr. Abubakar is contesting the results of elections they won in some states. The APC had earlier filed its response to the petitions by Mr. Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, asking the tribunal to dismiss the petitions. Meanwhile, the Lagos State National and State Houses of Assembly Election Petition Tribunal sat today to listen to 8 applications brought by petitioners in respect of the 2023 elections held on February the 25th and March the 11th. Of the 8 applications, 2 were for substituted service, 3 for inspection of INEC materials, and another 3 seeking to withdraw their petitions for being filed out of time. The tribunal hearing the petitions into the governorship elections in the state, however, did not sit, as the lawyers to the governor have not been served with the various petitions filed. 4 petitions have been filed to challenge the return of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Quadri Hamzat. Other petitioners are the PDP and its candidate, Abdulaziz Adediran, the Labour Party governorship candidate, Gbadebo Rhodes Viver, who filed as the sole petitioner, the Allied People's Movement, APM, and the Action People's Party, APP. Governor Sanwo-Olu has set up his legal team comprising of 4 senior advocates of Nigeria and several other lawyers. Ahead of Saturday's supplementary elections in various parts of the country, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the deployment of supporting personnel and additional logistics for effective security management during the exercise. The polls are holding in 2,660 polling units, 185 local government areas across 24 states. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Mr. Olumuyiwa Adejobi, explains that the deployment also includes operational vehicles, non-lethal weapons, personal protective equipment, and anti-riot equipment. The IGP also directed all supervising senior police officers in charge of jurisdictions where the elections would be held, particularly the supplementary governorship elections in Adamawa and Kebbi states, to ensure the emplacement of adequate manpower and other resources for effective policing of the electoral process. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police has dismissed 3 officers from the service for unprofessional conduct. The officers, an inspector and 2 sergeants, were said to have fired gunshots repeatedly into the air in violation of the police standard operating procedures. Away from election matters, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, says he is dissatisfied with the level of construction work on the permanent site of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. He, however, stated that the President will commission the 50 billion naira project situated on the Airport Road in Abuja in 30 days. He made this known during an on-the-spot assessment of the project today.
This is the permanent site of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILS, situated along the Airport Road in the Federal Capital Territory. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, the Director General of the Institute, Mr. Abubakar Sulaiman, and officials of Julius Berger Construction Company are here to inspect the project. Mr. Gbajabiamila is dissatisfied with the level of work on the project.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that we're still at this stage and that there's nobody working.
The permanent site of the institute is estimated to cost over 50 billion naira. Channels Television's attempt to speak to the project coordinator for Julius Berger did not succeed. However, off camera, he states that the company still owed a substantial outstanding amount of a contract.
You can do your finding, but that is roughly about 50-something billion. And now we have done 47 billion for the phase 1. The outstanding, according to their position before our government council about a year ago, was to say they require 7.something billion, 7.5 billion to complete. And now we have 2.5 billion in the budget. So, and we're still talking to the executive to grant us more intervention. I think that should be okay for them to do something. They pledge, they promise the mail to us that they will move back to sites. They renege on their promise. And that is why the Speaker is furious that this project, this edifice must be commissioned in the next 30 days by Mr. President before he leaves office.
The institute is established to strengthen the legislative capacity of federal lawmakers.
Excellency, you're welcome, sir.
At a separate event in the National Assembly, the President of the Senate met with the management of a National Assembly Service Commission, where he emphasized the need for the Commission and the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies to build the capacity of first-time legislators who will make up a significant number in the 10th Assembly.
What this means is in the 10th Assembly, we must make provision immediately for capacity building for members of the National Assembly that will be new, if we want to achieve our goals and our set targets.
Senator Lawan also wants the permanent site of the institute to be completed promptly, as well as the provision of a befitting accommodation for the National Assembly Service Commission.
In Delta State, the people of Anwai community have expressed their frustrations over what they term as incessant killings perpetrated by hoodlums hiding under the name of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The residents took to the streets of Asaba in protest and are asking the federal and state governments to quickly address the killings by developing the 100 hectares of fallow land acquired by government, which they say now serves as a safe haven for the criminals.
This is 100-hectare land located in Anwai community of Shimili South local government area of Delta State. Prior to 2012, the area was a beehive of activities and a commercial hub for the adjoining communities. Due to the popularity of the area, the 100-hectare land was acquired by the Delta State government in 2012 and handed to the Federal Housing Authority to build low-cost housing. But up till now, nothing has been developed, and the people claim it has now become a hideout for the criminals. The traditional ruler of the area speaks more on the situation.
The place is now bushy. It's called Sambisa Forest, now taken over by hoodlums operating under the auspices of IPOB. But I know that that is not what the IPOB stands for. But every month we have killings here. At least for the past 7-8 years. There is no month that they don't kill somebody and remove his head.
The traditional ruler leads a protest by his people who say they are tired of all the killings and show their displeasure with various placards. Their destination is a government house in Asaba, where they complain about continuous security challenges allegedly brought about by the prescribed indigenous people of Biafra, which makes them continuously live in fear.
Monthly, we record about, let's say, 30 deaths every month. 25, 30 deaths every month. And some of these people are beheaded. We don't know if it is used for ritual or whatever. And secondly, the cause of this issue is the vast land acquired by the state government, which they handed over to the federal government for development with a stipulated time factor to develop this particular land. But for 12 years now, this land has not been put in use.
I will bring it to the attention of the governor. I will equally bring it to the attention of the Commissioner for Police. We'll look objectively into it. We'll look into the laws of the land. We'll look into the purpose for which it was acquired. We will liaise with the relevant federal authorities to ask them further questions on why the land is lying fallow.
They hope the state government will act fast to take the necessary steps to develop the property to put an end to the security threats.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigerian Export Promotion Council says cashew nut exports hit $252 million in 2022. That's on Business News. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We now head to the nation's capital, and of course, we'll be turning to Terry Ikumi for the very latest from our Abuja studios. Great to have you again, Terry.
Thanks for having me again, Ayo. Now to education matters. 18 public tertiary institutions in Nigeria are to benefit from the over 300 billion naira intervention fund by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. The executive secretary of the fund, Mr. Sonny Echono, announced this while giving a breakdown of the intervention funds aimed at developing infrastructure and promoting research in the nation's tertiary institutions. Mr. Echono adds that beneficiary institutions will be strictly monitored to ensure that funds are judiciously utilized.
The special high impact will be given 3 billion each to 6 universities. And the 6 universities are, from the North Central Zone, we have Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University in Lahai, that's in Niger State. From the Northeast Zone, we have a federal university in Wukari, that's in Taraba State. From the Northwest, we have the Federal University in Birnin Kebbi in Kebbi State. In the Southeast, we have the Imo State University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. While in the South-South, we have the Edo State University in Uzere, that's in Edo State. And finally, in the Southwest, we have the Federal University of Technology in Akure in Ondo State. And as I said, last year, 6 institutions got. So we do these rotations. All those that got last year, those they will not get this year anymore. Because in this zone, apart from the Southeast, we have 6. So we do 6 each year. We take 1 from this zone. It rotates among the zones. Next year again, another 6 are going to benefit.
Our experts in the information and communication technology sector have identified digitization of the governance processes as the cure of corruption in the various sectors. They made the assertion at a forum on economic digitization in Abuja. The event, which also witnessed the signing of a partnership agreement between Next Technologies Limited and Visa Incorporated, is aimed at strengthening Nigeria's digital infrastructure.
Digitization of the Nigerian economy is central at this gathering, and the host of the event and executive vice chairman of NEGST Technologies Limited, Mr. Babatunde Obada, sets the agenda for the event.
What do we really mean by economy digitization? It appears to be a very huge, broad and large topic. Right now, what constitutes the Nigerian economy? We are excelling all over the world now in the creative industry. Nigerian music, Nigerian films, and all of that is popular across the world. That is an aspect of our economy. We have oil and gas. Now, a lot of these sectors of the economy, they are operating in silos. They are operating in silos. They are not talking to each other. Everyone is doing his own thing. And it should not be so.
The Minister of State for Transport gives assurances to the company and its strategic partners, Visa, that the government will reinforce action on the digital sector, especially so that cutting-edge partnerships like this can succeed.
The world is moving to digital economy and information technology. Therefore, this is a step in the right direction for the development of our economy. I welcome the management of Visa Incorporated to Nigeria, and I sincerely appreciate your belief in investing in this country. You can be rest assured that your investment and your interest in Nigeria would achieve success, I assure you.
Other speakers highlight the advantages of digitization of governance.
One of the key things I remember was the issue of paying custom duties, because people feel that that is where you can cheat the system and maximize your profit or whatever you're doing. But once the digital system comes in, there's no opportunity for man-to-man interaction.
Whether you talk of oil theft, hijacking of vessels, loading crude in the high seas, you can tackle such problems with digitalization. Because right from production to the measurement of the oil produced, the data in our country is very scanty.
The chairman of the Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, is represented by the head of reportorial of Abuja Station, Gloria Omezeoke, who shares his remarks with the stakeholders.
Dr. John Momo most certainly believes in your unshakable conviction that Nigeria really deserves this path and to grow in this path, in this defining moment of our life. And we're hoping that we'll have a very successful partnership with all of this. Congratulations.
NEGST Technologies Limited and Visa Incorporated then signed a strategic partnership agreement which is aimed at improving Nigeria's digital infrastructure. Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the full disclosure and transparency in terms of contracts and information on the processes in Nigeria's extractive industry is crucial in ensuring that Nigerians benefit from the exploration of our abundant resources. This is the position of the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, Mr. Ogbonnaya Orji. He was speaking at a policy dialogue engagement on utilizing beneficial ownership data in the fight against corruption in the oil and gas industry.
The volume of crude oil losses represent a loss of more than 140,000 barrels per day. Between 2009 and 2018, Nigeria lost 4.2 billion liters of petroleum products from refineries valued at $1.84 billion. These findings, recommendations, and the concerns raised by NITI and this policy brief perhaps made the government to set up special investigation panel on oil theft. And that panel was constituted by the Office of the National Security Advisor. NITI was appointed as a member of that committee because we believe that government responded to the policy brief that we did, because we have legitimate interest to the fact that the extractive industry must work for all Nigerians. If we are losing money through these lapses, there is no way government can get money to provide roads, provide electricity, provide jobs, tackle insecurity, build industries, and create the atmosphere that we need to live peacefully as an oil-rich country.
And it's a wrap from Abuja. Back to Lagos for business news with Ann Waudu.
Thank you, Ayatunde. Hello and welcome to Business News. $252 million. That's the total value of cashew nuts exported in 2022, and that's according to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. The NEPC notes that the rise in earnings follows the launch of the Organic Cashew Certification Program, while projecting a $500 million revenue in the year 2023. The NEPC Executive Secretary Ezra Yakusak says the project aims at discouraging export of raw cashew and encourage value addition across the cashew value chain, adding that if properly executed, it will generate more forex for the country, create jobs, and also drive industrialization. Giving more attention to the commodity exchange to boost Nigeria's agricultural value chain is a major adjustment in the revised Capital Market Master Plan. Chief Economist of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Oke Umeano, highlighted this when he was a guest on Business Morning today.
The revised master plan talks about how we will incubate. Because of it, we now have a regulatory incubator that we have set up. And the system would allow new companies, fintechs most likely, new startups to be able to enter the market and, make it more efficient. So that's one of the things. Another focus of the new master plan is the commodities end of the market, commodities segment. We all know that Nigeria does a lot in that. We depend on crude oil. We've got some gold. We do a lot of agriculture. So it's important that we build a commodities market that will service these parts of our economy. It's not right that we have an economy that is based on commodities, yet we do not have a good market for those commodities. We have to have a way to do price discovery for our farmers. We have to have a way to provide financing for our miners and all that. And it's also important that we have standards for the products that we make. So this whole package is what we are doing in the commodities ecosystem.
The World Bank President David Malpass is projecting a growth forecast for Nigeria in 2023 as a drop from the 3.3% projected in the year 2022. Mr. Malpass, who was speaking at the opening of this year's spring meetings, says the country has to make a number of changes in order to achieve the World Bank's priority of shared prosperity. According to him, Nigeria needs to change its focus of their reliance on oil and gas, which has left a large chunk of its population in poverty.
We see risks increasing.
A high priority for the World Bank is shared prosperity in a sustainable way. And so as we think about Nigeria, there are many changes that are needed in order to allow that process to proceed. While Nigeria has GDP, gross domestic production, a big chunk of that is oil, and it means that a lot of people in Nigeria are facing poverty, and there needs to be a direct focus on that. They also face insecurity across the northern and western regions that are very challenging. And so World Bank is working hard within Nigeria, but also working to try to have an economic system that can be more productive. That means Nigeria has trade protection that blocks the market development. They have a dual exchange rate that is very expensive for the people of Nigeria to maintain that dual exchange rate system. They have high inflation and not enough diversification of the economy to really make sufficient progress.
Let's head to the equities market now. It made a U-turn into negative territory today after a brief comeback yesterday. Willie Bong has the details.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's official. Yesterday was a blip. Whatever positive sentiment we thought was creeping back into the market was eaten up by the bear. Now, the all-share index swung into negative territory today, down marginally though by 0.02% on the back of more profit taken by investors. And that translated to increased volume and value, which you saw today, which rose by 18% and 13% each. However, some sectors did show some strength in the midst of the sell pressure. Industrial and consumer goods did that. Now, a bit of market news. with businessman and CEO of Giregu, Femi Otedola, buying 5.52% equity shares in Transcorp. We're seeing some price action in that stock price. It rose today by 10% to close at 1 naira 54 kobo. Transcorp is definitely on the move there. Companies are still marking down for dividend payouts, and lower share prices means lots of opportunities for new investors to play in the markets. And that's the stock market report. I'm Will Ibang. It's back to you.
Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. The rest of News at 10 continues now with Ayotunde.
Thank you, Anne. From Friday, April the 14th, 2023, shareholders of Dangote Cement PLC will begin getting their dividend for the year ended December 31st, 2022. This is according to the chairman of the company, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. He was speaking at the 14th annual general meeting of the Dangote Cement PLC held in Lagos today.
The 14th annual general meeting of the Dangote Cement PLC is to do an appraisal of the company for the year ended December 31st, 2022.
It gives me great pleasure.
Shareholders come together here in Lagos while others join virtually from different parts of the world. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the company, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, is here alongside other members of the board.
Agenda items to be deliberated on today.
In addition to the customary declaration of dividends, this meeting is to also elect and re-elect members of the directors and shareholders' representatives, among other agenda.
Regulators present, distinguished fellow shareholders.
It also avails shareholders the opportunity to contribute to the growth of the company.
I say you have done well.
The chairman responds to some of the questions before declaring the dividend of 20 naira per share, having achieved a profit after tax of 382.3 billion naira, which is about 4.9% increase compared to the previous year.
Following the results of the voting as announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution to declare a dividend of 20 naira per share, irrespective of the period ended 31st December 2022, has been passed.
Shareholders are impressed with the dividend and generally by the performance of the company in the year under review.
We are getting a very good dividend of 20 naira. Of course, we can look at it that we received the same last year, but when you look at it with the situation of things in the country, we are very happy.
I'm highly impressed because they are expanding into many African countries, and that is why you are seeing the profitability you are seeing.
Well, we have actually done quite a lot. Yes, it's true. Our own bonds, yes, we did extremely very well. There's quite a lot of trust, and people like and love our brand. And I think we're doing great, and we'll continue to make sure that we keep the shareholders happy. Not only the shareholder, all stakeholders.
They also commend the leadership style of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, which they credit for the strides the company is making.
The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, has confirmed the arrest of a suspect named Jack Teixeira for alleged involvement in leaking Pentagon classified government documents. The 21-year-old suspect, who is a member of the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard, was taken into custody from North Dighton home in Massachusetts. The leak, described by the Pentagon as a deliberate criminal act, is said to contain a range of intelligence assessments about the war in Ukraine and other sensitive intelligence about countries around the world, including U.S. allies. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The United States believes the United Nations Secretary General is too willing to accommodate Russian interests. That's according to fresh revelations in classified documents leaked online. The files suggest Washington has been closely monitoring Antonio Guterres. Several documents describe private communications involving Mr. Guterres and his deputy. It is the latest from a leak of secret documents, which US officials are scrambling to get to the bottom of. US President Joe Biden has thanked the town of Dundalk for a homecoming welcome. Crowds lined the streets despite the rain to welcome the president, who shook hands with locals before visiting a restaurant and speaking at a pub nearby.
The United States will remain a central and fundamental partner. It is a privilege to welcome you here, Mr. President, to celebrate all that has been achieved.
Ireland's Deputy Prime Minister, Michael Martin, introduced Joe Biden to a waiting audience at the Windsor Bar.
Welcome home, Mr. President.
The US leader spoke of his local connections, telling assembled relatives that he would be back.
Thank you all for the homecoming welcome. The bad news for all of you is we'll be back. There's no way to keep us out, but thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you.
Former US President Donald Trump is suing his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, for more than $500 million. That's according to a filing in a federal court in Florida. The lawsuit comes after Cohen, once Trump's so-called fixer, testified before a Manhattan grand jury that later indicted Trump on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, marking the first time in US history that a former president has been charged with a crime.
I feel fine. I feel fine. A little twisted, to be honest. I regret the day I said yes to Mr. Trump. I regret all the help and support I gave him along the way. I am ashamed of my own failings and publicly accepted responsibility for them by pleading guilty in the Southern District of New York.
An evacuation siren has been heard in Japan, where residents in Hokkaido were told to evacuate immediately. Officials said a missile had been launched by North Korea.
우리 군은 오늘 07시 23분경 평양 인근에서
Authorities later said the missile did not land near the island and withdrew the alert. Tensions have been growing in the region as North Korea has already fired 27 missiles this year. A pedestrian has been videoed swimming in a flooded street in Fort Lauderdale in Florida after the area was hit by a deluge of rain. According to reports, up to 14 inches of rain had fallen in the city, leaving parts of the area underwater. The National Weather Service reported that a flash flood emergency had been issued in Fort Lauderdale following the downpour. And finally, Britain's Royal Mint has unveiled celebratory coins, including a 50p and £5, marking the coronation of King Charles III next month. The range features the first crowned effigy of Charles on a coin, created especially for the May the 6th ceremony that will be held at London's Westminster Abbey. It shows the monarch wearing the Tudor crown. Although the crown was destroyed in the 1640s, it has featured on past crown portraits of kings from the 20th century.
We have a full range of coins to celebrate the coronation, starting with a 50p. We also have a £5 crown and an ounce range. The 50p on the reverse, on the back of the coin, is a design of Westminster Abbey, and that is obviously where King Charles III will hold his coronation. And then on the reverse of the £5 crown is a beautiful depiction of the St. Edward's crown, which will be used in the ceremony as well.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
And the main news again. The Lagos State government today said it will probe the Banana Island 7-story building collapse. It also halted all ongoing building development projects and vowed to clamp down on structurally deficient buildings in the area. 8 people have been reportedly killed in a fresh attack by bandits on Attacking J community in Zangon Kataf local government area of Kaduna State, leaving residents in disarray. That's the news at 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Have a good night.